That's the good thing about abstracts is you can just add layers and layers and layers. And if you put something on and you think, I don't know, now that stands out too much, then I kind of smooth it out.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Palette. I'm your host, Whitney Rosenson, owner of Art Dimensions, and I'm so thrilled that you are joining me today. I'm really happy to be chatting today with Lori Dorn, an exceptional painter who has relocated to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and who I have been working with for many years. Hi, Lori. Welcome to Beyond the Palette.
Hi, Whitney.
Thank you for being here, and how are you?
I'm okay, just having a little allergy problem, but that's all.
Just a little allergy problem. Okay, so let's dive in. For those listeners who do not know who you are, can you give us a snapshot of your journey to where you are today?
I grew up in Indiana. I left there when I was 19. I wasn't an artist at all. I didn't have any interest. I didn't think I had any talent in it anyway. I went to Pennsylvania. I started riding horses. I went to Vermont to continue riding horses, and then I went to California. I ended up being very fortunate. I had some great horses and did really well with that. When I left that, I started studying photography. I got an interest in photography, and that's when I realized that I could see beauty. I didn't realize it before I could capture it, and then I realized that I could see it maybe differently than some people do. So I really fell in love with photography. I did that for 30 years in Los Angeles and mostly focused on actors ultimately. I really enjoyed doing that, but after, I don't know, like I said, almost 30 years, it just started to change. The whole business was changing, everything was changing. I was getting older and all that contributed probably. I found I needed something else to do creatively, and I took up painting and started doing abstracts, and I just fell in love with it. And I thought maybe I can somehow sell them and make a living just like I had done with my photography.
How long have you been painting for?
Now it's been 11 years. I was in California for 37 years, and then I moved to New Mexico 3 years ago, pretty much to the day yesterday, May 1st. I moved out here, and it was a really good decision. I've been really happy out here. I was scared to move anywhere for a long time because, I mean, where else am I going to shoot actors' headshots, make a living? There wasn't really any choices. But now that I was a painter, I thought maybe I had established myself enough that I could start someplace new. I fell in love with Santa Fe. I came out here and visited. The first year I was in Santa Fe. Now I'm just south of Santa Fe in a town called Cerrillos. I'm between Cerrillos and Madrid. Madrid's kind of famous out here, like a hippie town.
How many people in Cerrillos?
Oh gosh, not very many.
Less than Santa Fe, I assume.
Oh my God. No, it's a tiny, tiny town, but it's kind of a fun destination for people to go on the Turquoise Trail in between Santa Fe and Albuquerque. A lot of interesting artists.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to do a studio tour called the Turquoise Trail Studio Tour during Balloon Fiesta this year. I'm starting to get to meet all the local artists that want to be part of it, and it's really exciting. So
Oh, that's so great to have that community and to be part of that.
yeah, it's a very artistic community out here. So
Perfect.
I felt like when I first moved out here, when I told people I was an artist, it was like an actor moving to LA and saying, "Hey, I'm an actor." And everybody's like, yeah, you and everybody else."
But you are an artist. You're an incredible painter. I know it's only been 11 years, but you've had such great success.
Yeah, it's going pretty good.
Describe your aesthetic and if you can in 3 words.
I would say the things that are the most important to me is that to me, I want them to be soothing, uplifting. I like them to be pretty. I would want them to be something that people would want to look at and not get tired of and sort of make them feel good. So I guess that's sort of hard to explain, but maybe peaceful. I don't like a lot of jarring colors, crazy contrast. That's just not my style. So
You don't tend to use really bold colors, although you have done some work with reds and blues but they're more muted. You use a more muted palette.
I do most of the time. Yeah. I would say, especially the last couple of years, I've been painting mostly blues. This year, I'm starting to add some more yellows and oranges, but I tend to stick with colors that are relate, greens and blues together and maybe some gold. I like red paintings and I like pink when I see it in other people's, but I tend to not go in that direction too much. I don't know why. If I put it on there, I end up painting over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I dabble, so, that's a good thing about abstracts is you can just add layers and layers and layers, and if you put something on and you think, "I don't know, now that stands out too much," and I kinda smooth it out.
With a more muted tone.
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to have an automatic system yet. I'm not like, I could just go in and go, "Oh, yeah, I painted that one yesterday, now I'm gonna go paint that one," similar. It still ends up fighting me.
So how long does it take you to finish, let's say or a typical work of yours, let's say if it's like a 40 by 40 or something even larger. I mean, do you spend months and months on one painting? I feel like you're kind of fast.
I am pretty fast. I am fast. To me, maybe I want it to be even faster, but it's not that I don't enjoy doing it. I like the process of doing it. I like to finish things. So sometimes I'll feel like it's finished, and then I'll go back and go, I don't know. I think I'm gonna paint over this one. I've been working on for I don't know, several days, and it was already an existing painting, and I decided I didn't have any other canvas right now, so I was just gonna take that one out and paint over it. So I've been painting over it for about 4 days, and now I finally got it to where I liked it just now.
Oh, good.
And all the ones that I've been doing this year are pretty much very nature inspired, because I live in the country, I live in a little cabin, and all around me are windows, so I see the birds, everything kind of affects me. I think my pieces are emotional. They may not be emotional for other people, but they're from an emotional place for me, and right now, nature seems to be so this one is gusty.
It's called Gusty.
Yeah, gusty because 'cause it's been very windy. It gets really windy here in the spring, and it's kind of intense, but that it just again, it influences me. So this painting ends up being gusty. The last one was misty, which is
Okay.
kind of very simple names, but that kind of tells what it is in a way.
And it makes it easy for me if your titles are short and sweet.
There you go.
I like that. So what materials do you work with and why?
I work with acrylic on canvas. That's the first thing I started to use, and it was suggested to me that I could get acrylic paints. And the first paintings I actually did were my backdrops for photography. And I made large, pretty much abstract paintings, but they didn't have to be really like a painting. They were more of a backdrop, but they still had a mix of colors and everything. From there, I thought, hey, maybe I can actually make a painting. That's when I started trying to do it. So I used the same materials. I've never studied. I just kind of have stuck to what I've learned so far. And because I'm doing large paintings and I have limited space, and because I do like to kind of get things finished, the acrylics work well for me. They dry fast. I kind of understand them. Someday maybe I dabble in oil if I have maybe my own studio space. Right now it's part of my living space, and I think oils are a little bit more.
The fumes
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
aren't healthy, yeah.
Yeah, and, because this is where I live and I'm renting, it's a little bit different too. I think you don't wanna just go in and start getting paint everywhere.
Yes, yes. Who are some of your greatest influences? I mean, besides I know nature inspires you, but let's talk about influences. Are there any painters whose work you gravitate towards or even just personally?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Georgia O'Keeffe is an inspiration, just obviously as a woman, as an artist. The fact that she came out here to New Mexico, it's all very interesting and cool. I've been to her museum. I love her work. I love Richard Diebenkorn's work a lot. I've done some collages that were loosely based on being inspired by his work. I've always loved Van Gogh. I've seen his work basically at a show in LA when it came to LA County Museum of Art, whenever that was, some years before I was an artist. I love Matisse. I also went to a show in New York that had Matisse. It was the most overwhelming. I couldn't believe one person did all that artwork.
I saw that show too. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, rooms and rooms and rooms of artwork.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful.
It's so crisp and I love his work.
the colors, and then he goes into all these other directions, and, that's inspiring, and at first I was trying to find a style, and then you wanna kinda work in the style for a while so people can see what you're doing and you can get comfortable with it and everything, and then you also wanna try sometimes different things. So this year recently, I've done a couple that were abstract, figures, and they're loosely figures, I would say, because I don't really think I would ever do real anything
Realistic.
realistic, yeah. My sister does that. She's very good at that. She teaches at Cal Arts and she teaches life drawing. She's a very good
Oh,
artist. So I think growing up, I always thought she was the artist and I wasn't. I didn't have that ability.
but maybe you did.
Well, I guess I did underneath it all.
So that leads to my next question, which is, do you think creativity is something you're born with or something you're taught?
I think it's something you're born with. People have different talents, but the key thing is, you have to work at it.
Right.
I mean, I've seen people in different things that have a natural talent, either for riding horses or for acting, photography. But if they don't put in all the time, then it doesn't really end up being much of anything.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I didn't feel like I necessarily needed to go to school for this. Did study photography, but in those days, photography was I was learning like black and white film, and I had to learn the f-stops, the apertures, and how to, capture everything in a certain way and how to print them and everything. Now you don't really have to do that as a photographer because it's all digital.
So different. Yeah. There are no dark rooms anymore.
Yeah, probably not. And everybody's got a phone and they've got a camera in their phone. So, it's a different process. But with painting, I liked that it was sort of something that hasn't really changed over all the years. It's the one thing you can go back to and it's just you and the paint and the canvas and
Expression.
yeah. I also love that it's solitary. I appreciate that now because I was around people for so long and that was my job and it was great, but I kinda like now just being out in the country and having it be quiet and I can just paint.
Has COVID affected your practice?
At the very beginning, I thought, "Yeah, this is okay with me because I'm already home all the time anyway." I didn't realize almost immediately the clients that I do have pretty much stopped buying. I thought, "Well, this gives me some time. I can just paint for, a few months and we'll see what happens." And then I sort of lost my momentum because nothing was really happening and it was kind of getting depressing. And for some reason, yeah, I didn't paint very much there for several months. This year, things started to turn back
To
around.
pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel more optimistic. I think like everyone does, and I've had my vaccine, and my friends out here are vaccinated, and we feel like we can start to see friends a little bit more and do things. And I'm hoping that things will start to turn around and
Me too.
that definitely helped me to start getting a little bit more inspired to paint again, and, that's why I thought might as well try something different too. That's why I kind of dabbled a little bit in the figures, adding the figures in because why not? I may not continue doing them or I may continue doing them, but you sometimes you gotta take a chance.
So would you say you have two bodies of work, the abstract and then the figurative?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's really a body of work yet. I would say, I've only done, like, maybe 3 or 4 pieces yet.
Are they large?
They're about the same size so far.
Because I know you work pretty large.
Yeah, I have one that's in a gallery out here that's 42 by 46, and I really was really happy with it. It's got a good response, and it's interesting. Whether I keep making them, I'm not sure yet exactly. We'll see if they kinda have to show up for me.
What do you mean show up for you?
Well, it's like if I start painting and I feel like there's a figure in there that wants to come out, and that's kinda what happened, and it was like, "Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to make them become real." It was an interesting process, so if they don't show up, then I probably won't won't force it.
But if it speaks to you, I mean, if
Yeah,
they start to show, then you'll bring them out. That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Lastly, what is your favorite part of being a painter?
I love beauty. I love to be surrounded by things that are beautiful. I know that's a very subjective thing, but so that's one of the parts of it that I like is that I'm making something that's pleasing to me. I get lost in it. to every time, and I love that the time just goes by and you get so immersed, and sometimes it's a little bit like a battle, but it's a cool one.
It sounds like, and it's very gratifying. That is very gratifying for you.
Very gratifying. I especially love when I see later if they're in someone's home or they're on a set, on a show or something, and I get to see how beautiful it looks, and it's like it's very fulfilling.
That's awesome. That's good. Well, that's what you want, and that's what I want for you too.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Lori. This was so much fun. I so appreciate you talking with me and giving the listeners a glimpse into your creative process. If anyone out there has questions about Lori's paintings, you can just email me through the Art Dimensions site, artdimensionsonline.com, and be sure to check out her glorious paintings on the Art Dimensions site as well. Also, we would love it if you would write a review about Beyond the Palette. So if you are so inclined, go to Apple Podcasts and please write a review. And to everyone out there listening and to Lori, take care and happy creating.